question is, how do I know if I've attained enlightenment or self-realization? When things are real, we feel them and we know them 100%. If you're standing in Ganga, you're in Ganga up to your shoulders, up to your neck, up to your nose. People on the shore could be shouting at you. You're dry, you're dry, you're dry. All they want. And it wouldn't have any impact because you know you're wet. The experience of being wet is so real that it doesn't matter what people shout. Even if you've got a voice in your mind that says you don't deserve to be wet, you don't deserve to be in Ganga, Ganga will never make you wet. The minute you're standing there, the experience of being wet trumps every voice of doubt in your mind. It trumps everything anybody on the shore could shout at you. And the same thing is true when you're really in love. Not when you're in lust, not when you are in just momentary passion, not when you're in instinct or impulse. When we're young, we fall in love, we have this feeling of this is it forever. It's impulse. It's emotion, it's passion. But when you really, once you really love, and it doesn't matter if it's a romantic love, if it's love for your parent, if it's love for your child, once you really love, you know it. You never doubt. There's no voice in your mind that says, do I really love my mom? Do I really love my child? Do I really love? Once you experience it, you know. And the same thing is true with realization and enlightenment, because we know right now the light is on in this room. Now, I could try to convince you all that actually we're sitting in the darkness. You can't see, hold your hand up in front of your eyes, you can't even see it. You have no idea how many fingers I'm holding up. But it doesn't matter how much I say that. You know the light is on. You know you can see. You're bound to think I'm crazy long before you're going to think you're crazy. If I say to you, you can't see my hand, and you know you can, you're not going to ask yourself, God, am I going crazy? You're going to think, God, is she going crazy? Because it's so obvious that the light is on. When you attain enlightenment, the light is on. And knowing the difference between being in the light and being in the dark is something that we all have. And yet, the good news is, it's not all or nothing. We don't have to feel like we are hopeless and helpless just because we haven't fully gotten there. It's a process of unfolding, opening every single day, every minute, every moment. Because once we're really living in the light, the darkness has no hold over us. It's like that beautiful saying that, a single candle dispels the darkness. No amount of darkness can do anything to the light. Once the light is on, the darkness is over. But when we think about our darkness, what is that darkness? I mean, darkness in the room is obvious. The lights go out. But what's the opposite of enlightenment within myself? It's not dark in terms of evil. It's not dark in terms of bad. It's dark in terms of ignorance. This is how the Indian spiritual tradition understands and speaks about darkness is its ignorance. And in that darkness of ignorance, I can't see. And when I can't see, I make assumptions. And the assumptions are, I am this body. I am what I look like. I am what my career is. I am how much money I earn. I am all of these things. And then what other people do determines my mood. Right? I was in such a good mood and then you did this. Sab ekdam theek tha, main itni shanti thi, fir ab aa gaya. I was so peaceful, I was so happy, then you arrived. Or you did this, or you said that. When we're living in the light, that darkness doesn't happen to us. My inner sthiti, what you can call swasthiti, my inner situation. Sthiti is situation, swas of myself. So my swasthiti, most of us think it's determined by paristiti, which is the situation on the outside, or surrounding me, around me. So how I feel is determined by the world around me. Swasthiti determined by paristiti. When paristiti is going according to how I want it to go, my swasthiti is great. You do what I want, you say what I want. It's sunny on the day I'm supposed to have a picnic, I'm happy. You don't do what I want, you don't say what I want, it rains on my picnic, I'm sad. That's the darkness. The light is my swasthiti, my inner situation is so light that it doesn't matter what happens on the outside. It doesn't impact me. And in fact, it goes the other way. My swasthiti is so light that I change the paristiti. So instead of it being jaise paristiti vaise swasthiti, as is the outer, so is the inner, it becomes jaise swasthiti vaise paristiti. As is the inner, so becomes the outer. And when that happens, then we're living in the light. And that's what enlightenment is just living in the light. You know, Puja Swamiji always says it's not like somehow suddenly your skin changes colors or you grow, horns on your head, or it's an inner shift. But along the way, even if we're not quite there yet, even if sometimes what happens on the outside impacts us, we're moving minute by minute, day by day. And the good news is, every minute is a new opportunity. An hour ago, I let my internal situation be determined by outside. Okay, well look, right now, I have another opportunity. That's the great thing about being on a spiritual path in this universe, especially in the Kali Yuga. We get so many opportunities. Every minute, every moment is another opportunity to wake up. Missed it last moment? No problem. You have another opportunity. Because the world is going to keep presenting you with situations that put you at a fork in the road. Fork in the road is, where do I want to go with this? Okay, so this thing has just happened. Can't change that. That's now the fork in my road. This has happened. Now it's up to me where I'm going to go from it. How we think is actually what determines where we go. If you walked into a train station, or an airport, or a bus station, and you said to the person behind the counter, the person at the desk, I'd like a ticket. What's the first thing they're going to say to you? Where to? Where to? Because unless I know where to, nobody can sell me a ticket. I could go in, I could say, I want a first-class ticket, or I want the cheapest ticket you've got. They're still going to say, where to? And until I know where I want to go, I can't buy a ticket. And each ticket I buy determines where I go. Sounds simple, sounds obvious. But we don't pay attention to that in our lives. Every time I'm at this fork in the road, every time something happens, someone says something, someone does something, the stock market crashes, my house burns down, or the little things. I got yelled at, I got scolded, somebody was mean to me, I was cheated on. Not such a little thing, but these things happen in life. It happens. Now I'm at a fork in the road. Where do I want to end up? Because each road takes us to a different place. And each thought about what has happened is a ticket of which train or which bus or which flight we're getting on. And the mistake that most of us make is we buy the tickets and get on the trains or the planes that our family did, that our culture did, that people around us did, even though on a conscious level we know we don't want to end up in that place. But one train can't take you to two different destinations. If you get on a train to Calcutta, you cannot imagine that you're going to end up in Chennai. If you want to go to Chennai, you've got to buy a ticket and get on the train or the plane to Chennai. And if what we want in life is to be enlightened, or even if we're not quite so ambitious, we just want to be happy. We just want to be in peace. We just want to be fulfilled. Then why do we keep buying tickets and getting on vehicles that are taking us to misery, to competition, to jealousy, to lack of peace in ourselves? It's not conscious, of course, but it's because that's where the crowd is going. And so we just kind of follow the crowd and we end up on the train to misery. But every moment gives us another opportunity. I got on the train to misery last month. I remember the whole crowd was going in that direction. I joined them. I don't want to do that again. I've got a choice. Right now, this has happened. Okay. You've landed at the station. You've landed at the airport. Now it's up to you. Where are you going to go? And the great thing about it is, what I do this minute, if it's a mistake, if in this minute I have a thought of anger, I hate you, I can't believe you did that, and now I start plotting vengeance, or I just let it eat myself up inside, wrong train. But 15 minutes later, or 10 minutes later, or an hour later, when again I think, oh God, again I have another opportunity. Wait, I've done that before. I know where this flight goes. I don't want to go there anymore. And then we stop and we say, all right, time for a new vehicle. And if you don't like it, if you don't like the ticket to forgiveness, the ticket to let it go, the ticket to it's in God's hands, well, an hour later, you can always jump back on the misery train. So when you make those choices, it's important to allow yourself, because when we're really upset, there's this voice inside of us that says, I don't want to let it go. So it's important to tell yourself, well, it's all right. If you want to pick it back up an hour from now, you're welcome to. That train will still be available. But for right now, since we know where misery train goes, we know where anger train goes, we know where competition and jealousy and ego trains go, we know that. We've been riding them our whole lives. Why not? Why not just see? Just see what happens if I jump on the forgiveness train. What happens if I jump on the let it go train? What happens if I jump on the, well, maybe it was supposed to be like this train? Maybe it was not that the universe made a mistake and I just have to forgive the universe. Maybe this actually was how it was supposed to happen. Maybe the universe actually knew exactly what it was doing. Imagine that. When it made this happen. Maybe the plight of all of the farmers with desiccated fields was more important than the picnic I had planned, hence it rained. And imagine that it's not actually about me and my picnic. Because we always feel like it's always about us. I planned a picnic, it was my birthday, it rained. The universe is out to get me. And it never occurs to us that maybe this wasn't really about me. Maybe there's millions of farmers depending on this rain, and it was about them. Maybe it's about the children without water to drink. And the same thing is true with everything. Whether it's an act of nature that we call nature, whether it's an act of the nature of the people we live with, or work with, or are involved with. It's almost never about us. And real enlightenment is when we see that. Because remember, the light's on. In the darkness, the light is off, we think it's about us. And we respond like that. When the light's on, we realize it's not about us. And we can let it go, we forgive, and it doesn't impact our swasthiti.